road rage hits the beach.
You're still sitting in the same place. I am?
The woman's claiming she was hit by a vehicle trying to take a parking space. Sounds like it's a vehicle versus a woman.
Ran me over. What person would do this?
Then, Lifeguards and Delmar take to the sky.
We use the helicopters to deploy the lifeguard to the victim to at least get to a situation where we can stabilize the victim until further help arrives.
And in Huntington Beach, powerful rip currents have guards on the move.
Do you have a visual on the surfboard?
It's stuck at the end of the rip about 100 plus yards offshore.
You know, when lifeguards get that call, we're never quite sure what it is. It's a confirmed missing swimmer because the swimmer had friends that were here. They were in the ocean and they came in and the other swimmer didn't. So we're gonna search and assume the victim's alive for an hour, and we're gonna keep searching tonight until the sun goes down.
Huntington Beach, California is home to some of the most beautiful beaches in the world. And the area presents a unique weather pattern.
Huntington Beach has its own set of weather characteristics. Offshore is fairly flat, but Huntington Beach does pick up waves quite well. So the waves in Huntington Beach are usually a little bit bigger than they are a little further north or further south.
Today, a large swell is hitting Huntington Beach, causing new rip currents to form and putting lifeguards on high alert.
We've had some really big surf over the last few days. For lifeguarding, these are extremely dangerous times for us because the bottom is extremely unpredictable. It's shifting, it's moving around, it hasn't settled in yet. So we're gonna see some pretty big rip currents, probably see some pretty good shore break. The ocean's gonna be extremely unpredictable today.
Ultimately, it will be a day that sees 2 swimmers go missing before the sun sets. A day that will test the Huntington Beach lifeguards.
Hey, it's Jester and Zero. Just looking at this rip. It's a big rip. There's 5 people or so.
Rip currents are our main source of rescues down here. Basically, it's an outward current of water, and you can recognize it by the sandy. It's going to be brown and choppy, and that's how we notice them down here.
Big rip opened up over here, and then when I went out, another kid got sucked out in a separate rip current. There's like an inside inshore hole, sandbar, another big inshore hole, so people getting on that sandbar and then dumping back in.
Lifeguards can often spot a swimmer in trouble, even when the swimmer doesn't know it. Lifeguard Rodolfo Nieto notices a boogie boarder caught in a rip current.
The guy's really far out, and it looked like he was waving to the lifeguard here at Tower 3. It looks like he's on his bodyboard stuck in a rip current. The boat's on scene, so the boat might try to get the guy on board unless Nieto can get there in time.
Lifeguard Nieto reaches the victim and realizes he's boogie boarding without fins, which is dangerous when strong rip currents are present. To compound the situation, the victim is also resisting the rescue, but he has no idea of the peril he's in. Lifeguard Nieto finally convinces the man to take his help before he is sucked out to sea.
I was just trying to sit on my board, trying to get a good wave. But I guess the lifeguards, they said there was problems. So, he went out there, he wanted to bring me in. So we're all good. Thank you, appreciate it, man. Strong swimmer right there.
Whenever guards leave their towers in Huntington, they are backed up by both a truck and a boat.
When the guards go out, it obviously creates an opening. And so we developed the perimeter defense. And what it initially does is it makes sure that when a guard goes out and he has created a hole in that defense, we back it up and we cover it, and also the boats. These 2 bodyboarders are at the head of a rip. They have no fins, they're sort of struggling, they're so far out. The boat's gonna go ahead and pick them up. Our boat operator's gonna drive to an area where there's no rip current and drop them off really close to shore. Once they're on board too, he also gives them a chance to catch their breath. We can advise them, hey, you guys are in a bad rip current, you guys don't have any fins, this is what you need to do. The deckhand's telling them right now, okay, go ahead and get ready to go. Deckhand has them stand up, jump off, there goes the first victim, and there goes the second victim. And they should be able to get in really easy here. To save the trip for our tower guard having to go to the full outside break, making about a 10-minute rescue and coming in.
The large swell and high surf that hit the shores of Huntington Beach have made it a long day for lifeguards. But the day is far from over.
911, do you have an emergency?
Yeah, we're over here in front of the water tower, the giant water tower, and we lost somebody in the water.
What tower number are you by?
The tower number is 26.
The lifeguards are on the way out there right now.
7 miles due north of Huntington at Surfside Beach, a 911 call has come in regarding a 24-year-old missing swimmer. This report is extremely alarming because the lifeguards at Surfside have been off duty for over an hour, making Huntington one of the closest beaches with guards still on duty.
We got a call. It's a Code X call. It's a witness submersion. Somebody's gone down underwater, and we're going to go help in another department try to find this person.
We in Huntington City Beach, we get those calls regularly to assist other lifeguard agencies for resources that we might have available to them.
For a call of this nature, lifeguards are responding from all beaches in the area, including Marine units from Long Beach and a search helicopter from Huntington City Police. A quick response is imperative. With a missing swimmer in these water conditions, every passing second could be the difference between life and death. As lifeguard Darren Ham and several other units from Huntington Beach race to the missing swimmer at Surfside, lifeguard Terry Slutsky and the remaining guards of Huntington Beach receive a similar call on their home turf.
It's the Huntington Beach police helicopter, and HB1 has just spotted a surfboard in the head of a rip, and they're just asking if anybody's missing.
What HB1 has spotted is actually a kiteboard. Because of the wind conditions, Huntington Beach is one of the top destinations for advanced kiteboarders. The sighting of a kiteboard without a rider is always cause for alarm, and this board is at the end of a fierce rip current.
Have you seen anybody out on the head of that rip? Where that
I didn't see anybody.
This rip is a rather large rip. It's maybe out 100, 200 yards. So, you know, we're thinking, okay, if this board's out by itself and the owner's nowhere to be seen, then we potentially could have somebody missing.
Meanwhile, back up the coast at Surfside, lifeguards have gathered more information on the missing swimmer. He's a 24-year-old man who was swimming with 3 friends. When lifeguards went off duty at 6 p.m., the 4 swimmers were advised to get out of the water, but they decided to continue swimming. At 7:15, the 3 friends lost contact with the victim and called 911. Seal Beach Chief Joe Bailey is on scene coordinating rescue efforts from the shore.
We got a call for a missing swimmer. You know, when lifeguards get that call, we're never quite sure what it is. It's a confirmed missing swimmer because the swimmer had friends that were here. They were in the ocean and they came in and the other swimmer didn't. The first thing you want to do, you set a point last seen buoy and then you start a search from that point. You know, we have a strong current out there. We had the person was last seen in a strong rip current, and so our current today with the pretty good surf is moving fast. So we're covering all the way down to the rocks on this beach, Surfside.
Huntington Beach lifeguards, including Darren Ham, arrive on scene at 7:40 p.m.
They called us in for extra resources, extra people to look, and basically we conducted line searches.
In a line search, lifeguards line up shoulder to shoulder and search the area in shifts from the point last seen buoy, moving in the direction of the current. They will then double back and search the area in a grid-like pattern.
You never know if the swimmer's on the bottom, just underneath the surface. So what the swimmers do is they dive down in a line, they try and kick in the same speed, and they come up at the same spot and do that over and over again. So, you know, these lifeguards are in great shape and they're well-versed and trained in how to do this swimming, this rest, or the searching, and so that's what they're doing. Swimming down, swimming along the bottom, coming up, backing up a little bit to make sure they cover the whole ocean floor.
Darren Ham has just finished his 3rd shift in the water.
Basically, when a person goes down, they're full of water. They've basically inhaled water, so they're not floating anymore. So what we're doing is we're on the bottom basically, and since visibility is limited, we're kind of feeling.
We're still searching. Lifeguards generally work under what we call the golden hour rule. So we're going to search and assume the victim's alive for an hour, and we're going to keep searching tonight until the sun goes down.
Back in Huntington Beach, lifeguard Terry Slutsky is continuing a search for a missing kiteboarder.
Do you have a visual on the surfboard?
All lifeguards direct their attention to the waves. Things happen quickly in the water. If the kiteboarder has gone under, lifeguards won't have much time. After several minutes, HB1 spots a possible owner.
Maybe you guys could try to make contact with the green and black kite between Tower 10 and 12. It might be his board. He's kind of looking off out there.
So we're gonna see if someone lost their board.
As the helicopter begins searching for a victim at sea, lifeguard Slutsky hopes to find the owner safe on land.
When you get on scene with the kite surfer, I think it's his because he's looking in that area and he doesn't have wood with him asking if it's white and the scags were colored.
Hey, is your board white?
Yeah.
HB1 from 5020. The kiteboarder that's 97 with me, he's the owner of the board.
With the missing surfer found safely on shore, lifeguards can now focus on rescuing just his board.
It's stuck at the end of the rip about 100 plus yards offshore. Just sitting there, not going anywhere.
What happened? HB1 flew over. They saw the board. They saw the board, and they were like, "Hey, well, we missed anybody because the board's sitting out there at the head of the rip."
Wow. I hit a wave on the way out. Caught a little air wrong. Kicked my board off. You know, just got pummeled by a few waves following. Usually the waves push it in. It's a drag to be sitting out here on the beach, boardless.
How far is it out there? I don't know. Let me get an exact location for you. 0 from 20. Can you give me exact 20 of the board?
Looks like right off of your 20, if not closer to tower 12.
10-4. You just got it.
That's awesome.
In Huntington Beach, a missing kiteboarder is something the guards never take lightly. But today, there's a happy ending.
Thanks, Doug! I couldn't imagine if you had to swim out there and try to find it, because we had a hard time.
Yeah, you can't see it very well.
Yeah, it's really difficult. Even from 0, they had a hard time.
One happy taxpayer. Thank you very much.
No worries.
I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
What was your name?
Terry.
Terry. See you around the beach, huh?
Yeah.
Thanks, Terry.
All right.
Back in Surfside, the search for the missing swimmer has gone on for over an hour and 25 minutes. And unfortunately, lifeguards have determined that the time of survival has passed. This rescue has become a recovery.
At some point, it becomes more of it's a body recovery. You know, after a certain amount of time, the chances of survival are pretty much eliminated. We're pretty much at a point of doing body recovery, and now it's getting to the point where it's getting dark, increasing swell. It's kind of not very safe to continue the search.
After searching into the night and exhausting their resources, the lifeguards find no sign of the missing swimmer.
At some point, you got to be able to let go of it and just, you operate on a professional level, and at some point you just let go of it and you go home, maybe give your family an extra hug or two, tell them you love them an extra couple times.
More than 2 weeks later, the 24-year-old's body is recovered.
The victim recovery actually took place 15 days after the initial drowning. The body was found about 3/4 of a mile away at the end of one of the jetties, which is at a harbor entrance for Huntington Harbor. And then the body's passed on to the coroner and they completed their investigation.
In Del Mar, California, the summer's warm weather is keeping droves of beachgoers on the sand and in the surf. And nobody has their eyes on the beach quite like Del Mar Lifeguard Chief Pat Verne.
My job here in Del Mar is all-weather conducive. So if the sun's out, the water's warm, the place is packed. It's wall-to-wall people, and obviously that brings in more action, more things to worry about, more things to react to.
Station 3, 3D1, South Border, Code 4, 4 surfers, 1 swimmer.
10-4.
I've been here in Del Mar for 30 years, started as a student lifeguard and then kind of worked my way up the ranks. I was actually in high school here playing water polo, and the lifeguard captain at the time came to our water polo games and would try to recruit us for a summer job. And the idea of working on the beach certainly appealed to me, and it's been great ever since.
Even with long summer days and big beach crowds, Pat and his lifeguards know that when the summer's over and water conditions change for the worse, they'll need to be prepared to use more advanced tools for their rescues. Helicopters. The lifeguards, fire department, and Coast Guard all use helicopters to aid in water rescues. In this dramatic footage, a Coast Guard paramedic is lowered into dangerous surf to help 2 victims whose boat had capsized in a winter storm.
During the winter time, when we have very large surf, it's going to take us a little while to get the lifeguard to a potential victim, whether it be by boat or swimming out. We use the helicopters to deploy the lifeguard to the victim to at least get to a situation where we can stabilize the victim until further help arrives.
Today, the Del Mar Lifeguards will be flying high in conjunction with the San Diego Sheriff's Department.
The ship is going to be turning, so be aware of that. Do not walk anywhere past this part of the aircraft right here, okay? You got the tail rotor back there. That's definitely at, chest to head height. That will kill you if you get hit by it. And then you got the exhaust coming out of the stack right here. It's very hot. It'll give you like a 3rd-degree burn. Now, for whoever is on the pilot side of the aircraft, be aware that there's a collective right here, all right? This collective is what makes the aircraft go up and down. Do not put your hand on this collective, all right? We'll lift off, we'll fly you out past the surf zone. All you gotta do is you just gotta step off together. Just step right off the skid and then do your thing that you do as lifeguards when you hit the water.
And we want to be in a position when we actually need to do a rescue using the helicopter that we've been trained. We don't have to sit around, go through briefings. The helicopter lands, the lifeguards get onto the side of the skids, and then they take off.
The very first time I was really scared. It's just it was so foreign and holding on to the outside of a helicopter. You're not strapped in at all, but once you did it once, you just want to keep doing it.
So awesome, man. That was good practice, wasn't it?
For now, the conditions are calm. But a rescue during a winter storm would involve extremely volatile waters and a dangerous environment. So the guards must perfect their technique during today's training.
Once the lifeguard's been deployed to the victim and stabilizes the victim, the way we're going to get him back to shore is using one of our rescue boats. So it's a critical component.
No one knows whether the coming winter will produce large storm swells in Del Mar. But with today's training, the lifeguards will be prepared to handle the worst.
So awesome. Loved it.
Having the best trained lifeguards is probably the most important thing of my whole job. You have to have the best trained, you have to have good people, good motivation, and I think I definitely have accomplished that in Del Mar.
San Diego's Ocean Beach is one of the most popular spots to cool off when the weather's warm, and today is no exception.
Here in Ocean Beach, it's mid-70s. The air is clear, the sun is shining, it's a beautiful day, and it's hotter on the inland, so we're expecting good crowds and a fun day.
With weather like this, thousands of cars are expected to make the journey to the beach, which makes beachfront parking a hot commodity.
Lifeguard dispatch, receiving a 911 call, Ocean Beach. Sounds like it's a vehicle versus a woman.
Copy that. We received a 911 call of an unknown medical aid.
The woman's claiming she was hit by a vehicle trying to take a parking space. She's sitting on top of her cooler.
Sergeant Harris and lifeguard Lonnie Stevens arrive expecting the worst.
You're still sitting in the same place? I am? You're still sitting in the same damn place? Have another drink. My name's James.
I haven't had one drink.
What do you want in the Department of Motor Vehicle?
Basically, it wasn't a medical aid. It was a dispute between a parking spot over a parking spot.
Do you have any medical condition?
Oh, that was so bad.
Okay, ma'am. We need paramedics. I'd like to keep you on the beach.
Is there anything that we need to do for you medically?
Okay. All right.
She basically stated that she was saving a parking spot, and a gentleman in a car tried to come in, and according to her story, was to take the spot from her, and that he kept pushing forward until she either fell or was run over by the car.
This particular individual had a cooler full of, personal items, and she refused to move them, so I ran the over and parked my car in the parking spot. She claimed injury, so I called 911 in case she was injured. I'm just like, yeah, you're just laying there trying to look injured so that I look bad. Let's call a spade a spade. Then her husband showed up.
How did all this stuff get like that?
Picked it out from under
That's what I'm saying.
literally.
What person would do this?
He picked it out from under us.
We're not going to get into it right now, guys.
The 911 call has triggered a response from paramedics and police.
We call 911, everybody just comes.
I
ran me over. I was sitting right here.
In this case, it wasn't a medical aid. We ascertained that fairly early, so we were able to separate the individuals.
Write down her name, some witness information.
When police arrived, they delved down more into who's at fault and what needs to happen to resolve the situation.
In the end, both parties were in the wrong. In San Diego, it's illegal to hold a public parking spot while someone else is waiting. It's also illegal to run over someone's personal property. If this had been a football game, the referees would have called offsetting penalties and replayed the down. Both parties were warned and advised to have a good day at the beach.
Have a good day.